Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. Today, as I mentioned in the introduction, we're going to shoot this level 3A panel from APM Technologie out of Cowansville, Quebec. Again, special thanks to APM for sending me these plates to shoot up and destroy. So great group of people. So we're going to take this and we're going to turn it into this. Okay, so this is what's left after that demonstration. That's what happens to a panel when you really shoot the heck out of it. If you're not familiar with how these panels are made, you have this layers of woven Kevlar fiber with a resin that holds the whole thing together. And the idea is that the bullets enter the Kevlar fibers and they get caught up and they lose their velocity and they stop and they don't penetrate. Hopefully that's what we want. Get all these pieces off there. And then this is what the rounds look like when they're done. So I'll show you a close-up of that. So here's some of the rounds. They're pretty mushroomed. Some of them have some really interesting shapes to them. Obviously they were, there's a lot of force when those bullets get stopped so quickly after they've really gotten going. So they do some weird things. So anyway, interestingly enough, the plate held up really well. So let's get started. So we got a Kevlar panel here, level 3A, and the first round that we're going to shoot into this thing is a 45 ACP shot from one of my Norinco 1911s. So as you can see, the plate stopped at no problem, or I would call it a panel, really not a plate, but the plate stopped at no problem, but you saw this huge bulge here in the inside of the panel. And of course that bulge occurs within a fraction of a second, causing you some trauma in your chest area, which is not a great place to get trauma, but a lot better than that bullet going through. Okay, now the next round that we're going to do is a 9mm from the Glock Model 17 9x19, also known as 9mm Parabellum, also known as 9mm Luger, all the same cartridge. So let's shoot this thing. So as you can see, again, the panel stopped at no problem. I thought it went through, but it didn't. It was just caught up in the fibers. And as I mentioned, you've got all these layers of Kevlar fiber, and sometimes they'll penetrate a few layers, but they'll get caught inside at least somewhere. That's the hope, at least. But so far, this panel was really, really reliable. So the next one we're going to use is we're going to shoot a 2 3/4 inch 12 gauge slug at this thing, and we'll see what it does to the panel and to our friend the mannequin, Fred the mannequin. So let's check it out.
Ready?
Okay, now I hope this was an eye-opener, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was a total eye-opener for me, because maybe I didn't watch enough videos. Maybe there's other videos out on YouTube about 12 gauge slugs hitting semi-rigid 3A panels. I don't know, but I was pretty shocked. And so there's a couple of things I want to address here. For one, it stopped the slug, and that's amazing. That's fantastic, but you saw what happened. It folded this whole panel right up into a little ball and shoved it right through the mannequin. Can you imagine if you're wearing that thing and you took that in the chest? I don't know if that you'd survive. You know, you have a shot at survival. That's what you have. So a couple of comments. First, we have the Body Armor Control Act here in British Columbia because apparently it's of some people's opinion that a gangster just pops one of these panels on, they can run around town wreaking havoc and they're impervious to gunfire. Well, as you guys see, reality and the perception of bureaucrats are two completely different things. Yeah, you're not going to be running anywhere. You're going to be running to the nearest medical services to see if they can save your life if you get hit with a 12-gauge slug with this thing on. And certainly 12-gauge slugs are something that the police have. So I think where these comments are going is Body Armor Control Act is completely unneeded. It's useless. There's no reason to have a Body Armor Control Act. You can't hurt anybody with one of these. You can just try to save your own life with one. So anyway, to control this kind of stuff is ridiculous, but it is what it is. And second comment, it's amazing to me, even with the 9mm, how much energy was absorbed by this plate and how much energy, or this panel, and how much energy wasn't absorbed by it, and you know how much trauma it created to the mannequin. And the reason why I'm surprised is I have seen a video from, I think, the late 70s or 80s or something, this guy named Alexander Jason, and he did a series of videos. I could only, years and years ago, I saw all of his videos, which were fantastic. Basically, he was busting myths when it comes to gunfire and shooting, gas tanks. Will a bullet ignite a gas tank, and all these other things. And he did one video on second chance body armor, which I put the link here in the description. And he stands on one foot while his buddy, it's the 70s or 80s, right? Those were the old days when you could shoot another guy while he's wearing body armor, and that's acceptable somehow. But anyway, now we just strap it onto dummies, and if you try to shoot somebody with armor, I mean, there's some liability there, right? It's where our society's gone. But nonetheless, if you watch the video, he gets shot with a .308 in the chest at point blank range out of a rifle. I think it was an FN and an FAL. And he's standing on one foot, and it doesn't even push him. Now, I think that's, and just my personal opinion, I'm not a body armor expert, as you guys know, but I think that these were sort of semi-ceramic plates, so they will absorb the energy a lot more, and the bullet will stay within the plate, like a ceramic plate. And if that's the case, then that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't throw him. But I think because that vest is so heavy in the video, maybe that's why he didn't get pushed over, but I still don't really understand it. But nonetheless, as you guys can see, a 12-gauge slug will do a tremendous amount of damage to you, even if you have one of these panels on, but at least you got something. Now, I'm not going to show the video, but I did throw a couple of 5.56s through. They whiz right through here. And the reason why this type of panel won't stop a rifle bullet is because those bullets move too fast. So it's got a lot to do with velocity, and it's got a lot to do with mass. The slug doesn't travel that fast, and it's really big, so it's easy to get caught up in these fibers. The 9mm and the 45 ACP, again, they're moving at 1,300 feet per second, give or take. Still, they can get stopped and caught up by the fibers. Whereas you have rifle bullets that are running between anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 feet or above 3 feet per second. They just pass right through. There's no time to slow the velocity. So I'm not going to show you that video because it's uneventful. But the next clip that we have is basically I had ruined this plate, and so me and a buddy are just going to open up on it with a 45 and a 9mm. So here's that just for fun. So as you can see, again, multiple hits on this panel. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of energy getting transferred into the panel. Again, I had to pull it right out of the inside of the mannequin. It's worth saying that your body has a lot more mass, a lot more weight, and isn't quite as fragile as the mannequin, but you do have ribs exposed behind a plate like that and stuff like that. So it will break, and you will separate your lung from the inner wall of your chest cavity. In other words, you're going to get collapsed lungs from that kind of trauma, and that's a really serious condition, and you will die if you don't get medical attention right away. So again, moral of the story is APM totally delivers. I mean, we beat the heck out of this thing. I would have recovered the Slug, by the way. I just want to say I really wanted that Slug, but I think when we opened up on it at the very end, that Slug got blown out and I couldn't find it. But anyways, APM delivered, stopped pretty much everything we threw at it, and really reasonably priced. And look them up, great company. Again, thank you to APM for giving me these panels and these plates to shoot. Anyway, hopefully it was entertaining. It was a really fun video to shoot, and I really appreciate you guys watching the videos and supporting the channel. Anyway, hopefully you guys were entertained. If you have comments or questions, you can feel free to put them below. Find us on Twitter at CivilAdvantage1, or find us on the web at www.civiladvantage.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.